Free racing pigeon tips and lots of info. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Look at the links and email below. Medicines and vitamins for pigeons. It is important for everyone who decides to start breeding pigeons to know how the owner should take care of his bird. So, it is important to pay sufficient attention to nutrition, which will determine how strong the immunity of the flying postman will be, whether he can bear offspring. It will also be about such a question as vitamins for pigeons. You will learn what trace elements a bird needs and how to maintain its immunity at the highest level. The question regarding the treatment of pigeons will also be touched upon. You will know what medicines should be in the first aid kit for first aid until complete recovery. What medicines are needed for pigeons? Unfortunately, even with good care, pigeons can get sick. How do you know if a bird is sick? Feathered behavior changes dramatically, appetite worsens, feathers become untidy, disheveled. It is important not to self-medicate, but immediately seek qualified help. The first thing to do is to identify the sick pigeon in a separate cage in order to prevent the further spread of the infection. Next, we will consider specific preparations of vitamins for your pigeons, which are used to treat a particular disease. It is worth noting that the cause of the ailment can be either a virus or a bacterium, or poor bird care. Rules for the use of medicines for pigeons. As mentioned earlier, the veterinarian should be involved in the treatment of pigeons, since only a professional can determine the cause of the disease and prescribe effective drug therapy. How many grams per liter, what dosage is 1/100th of a honeycomb. It is also important to treat the pigeon exactly as much as needed. It will depend on how quickly the chick recovers. Pigeon breeders know that this bird can react violently to the wrong treatment if it is not completed. Medicines for pigeons and Roflon for oral administration are diluted in water, sometimes stirring in food is allowed. However, it is worth saying that the pigeons do not delight in the feed with the drugs added to it, so it's worthwhile to hold the birds on a hungry diet for a while to give them an appetite. If a sick bird flatly refuses to eat a mash of medication, you can use sugar or sugar water as a basis and add chiktonique argue. Or, inject the medicinal solution with a syringe, that is, by force. What medicines are needed to treat pigeons? Pigeons often get sick, are very susceptible to one or another bird disease. The causes of the onset of the disease can be viruses, bacteria, fungi or parasites. In one case or another, antibiotics, antiparasitic or antiviral agents will be needed as therapy. Here is a list of drugs that are most often used during treatment of pigeons. Oxytetracycline, doxycycline, ciprofloxacin or enrofloxacin, Baytril based on metronidazole, poliodoxin, Triflon, tetramycin, or tiamelin, Tromexin or Enromag, Kepraceril, Enrostin, Enroflon, Baycox, sorghum sulfate for pigeons, pulsaceril or kepraceril, tricopolium, erythromycin and others. Now we will analyze how this or that medicine works, for which diseases of the pigeons they need to be taken, and how to choose the right dosage. Baytril. Baytril is an antibiotic used to treat diseases of the intestinal group, such as enteritis or colobacillosis. Baytril is produced in Russia, although Baytril can also be found under other trademarks, for example, Baytril Extra. Take Baytril strictly in accordance with the information specified in the instructions. From there you can find out what are the contraindications to the use of Baytril, its side effects and, most importantly, how long the course of treatment with Baytril lasts for pigeons. Of the benefits, you can cancel the fact that the effect of Baytril manifests itself quite quickly, within a few days. Trichopil. Pigeons often suffer from trichomonilosis. It is for the treatment of this disease that trichopolium is used. As mentioned earlier, birds are reluctant to peck food mixed with medicine, so trichopolium needs to be poured into the bird's beak on its own. In no case should you increase the dose of trichopolium, as this can cause death. Fosprinol. Fosprinol is an antiviral agent. It is often used to treat ailments such as orthomicrovirus, wiggle, Newcastle disease, and so on. It is worth saying that the only way to use fosprinol is by injections. It is pointless to give it with food. Dosage should be calculated based on the weight and age of the bird. The course of treatment is designed for 4 to 5 days. In addition to the fact that fosprinol is used to treat diseases, it is recommended to prick pigeons for prophylactic purposes, for example, when the pigeon lays eggs or when the period of molting begins, the arrival, and so on. The dose is determined individually by the veterinarian. The effectiveness of furazolidone. Furazolidone is used in cases where the pigeon is affected by Colobacteria, Coccidia or Salmonella. The direct effect is on the digestive tract, where it is completely absorbed. Its effect can be compared to a drug like Baytril. The prepared solution of furazolidone is not subject to long-term storage, therefore it must be consumed within 2 days, maximum 3 days. It is worth saying that furazolidone is one of the most popular medications. It is prescribed more often than others. This is because the cost of the drug is not high, and its availability is attractive. Enrofloxacin. Enrofloxacin belongs to the group of antibiotics. It is characterized as a rapidly absorbed medicine that quickly brings relief to the pigeon's health. It is also worth noting that the drug enrofloxacin has no side effects, that is, it is absolutely safe for birds. What diseases are treated with enrofloxacin? These are mycoplasma, brachyspiriosis and other ailments, the development of which is caused by this or that disease-causing organism. Antiparasitis. If you find parasites on the body of a pigeon, or they have settled in the digestive tract of the bird, you need to immediately start antiparasitic therapy. Veterinarians usually prescribe the simplest drug called antiparasite or Argue. Its advantages are the duration of exposure, complete safety and ease of use. The powder must be diluted with water and added to the pigeon in the proportion 10 grams of sporavit or antiparasite powder per 1 liter of water. Group of universal drugs. There is a special group of medicines that are commonly called universal. They are used to prevent or stop the disease at the initial stage of its development. These are such preparations for pigeons as levamisole, Parastop, Pharmacin, Enroxil, Enrofloxacin, Vladovac, Spirovit or Enroflon in the form of an aqueous solution. Timely use of the above drugs for the prevention of diseases in pigeons will keep their health under control and allow them to die from one or another disease. It is important to start a prophylactic course immediately after the first symptoms of malaise have been noticed, when the bird becomes restless, does not eat well or, conversely, prefers not to get up, stops flying, and so on. Vitamins for pigeons, do it yourself. Treatment of salmonellosis in pigeons. Salmonellosis is considered one of the most dangerous diseases, which in most cases lead to a massive drop in the number of birds. The danger of getting salmonellosis is not only threatened by poultry and other animals, but also by a person who is in close contact with the farm. The causative agent of salmonellosis is the bacterium Salmonella, which can be picked up in various ways. As you know, the best treatment is prevention, for example, vaccinations, periodic disinfection of perches, premises and work equipment, but it also happens that, despite all the measures taken, the pigeon can still become infected and get sick. Find out what veterinary drugs will be needed to treat salmonellosis? The most effective is Sultprim. The dose of its use must be calculated based on the weight and age of the bird. The advantage of this antibiotic is that it is quickly absorbed by the bird's body and acts almost immediately. However, for greater effectiveness, veterinarians prescribe 2 or 3 antibiotics at once, for example, Baytril and Sultprim, since Salmonella is not always treatable. After the course of treatment is over, doctors recommend restorative therapy, which includes a course of taking vitamins or minerals. The course lasts exactly as long as indicated in the instructions. This can be Gamavit, Vitome or any other concentrated vitamins that are top dressing. Avitaminosis in pigeons. Like any living organisms, pigeons often suffer from vitamin deficiency, especially in spring or autumn. Young animals, that is, newborn pigeons, also suffer from vitamin deficiency. We will find out in more detail how the behavior and appearance of a pigeon will change if there is a lack of one or another vitamin. Vitamin A deficiency. The pigeon does not gain weight well, physical development slows down, the condition is painful and weak. Conjunctivitis or anemia may develop. To prevent this condition, you need to add fish oil to your diet, as well as regular carrots and garlic. However, it is important not to overdo it and not bring the bird to hypovitaminosis, that is, an excess of vitamin A in the feed. Vitamin D deficiency. The first symptom of a lack of this vitamin is a violation of the bone structure of the bird. In addition, gait is disturbed, behavior becomes lethargic, feathers fall out, egg-laying rate falls. If you do not correct the nutrition in time, that is, fortify it, irreparable changes in the health of the pigeon may occur, it will become unsuitable for breeding and fall into the category of rejected. To make up for the lack of vitamin D, you need to enrich the food with fish oil, and also provide the dovecote with an ultraviolet lamp, which will serve as a natural source of vitamin D when walking is not possible. Lack of vitamin E. In the case when the pigeon does not receive vitamin E, you can observe the following symptoms. General lethargy. Inactivity. Disorders of the digestive tract. If vitamin deficiency is diagnosed in young animals, then a liquefaction of the brain appears. Involuntary twitching and convulsions appear. In order to prevent the development of these symptoms, prevention should come first, and then already, it is necessary to ensure that the nutrition of pigeons is balanced and varied. The composition of the feed should include cereals, seeds, lactose, probiotics and vitamins. Methods of treatment of vitamin deficiency with medication. In addition to the fact that you can review the nutrition of pigeons, it is recommended to diversify it with the help of vitamin complexes. Most commonly used are Aminovital or Intestivit. In addition to the fact that Intestivit and Aminovital contain all the vitamins necessary for pigeons, it also contains vital trace elements and amino acids, zinc, iron, potassium, and so on. Recommended use strictly in accordance with the instructions. Chick-tonique. The composition is also diverse, its periodic use contributes to the fact that the pigeon's immunity will improve.